The Pacific Ocean is much bigger than we think. Even if a hole is made across the Earth in the Pacific Ocean on the seashore of Chile, it will still come out in the Pacific Ocean on the other side of the Earth. Welcome once again to Wisdom Wave. There are a total 5 oceans in our world. Out of these 5 oceans, the largest portion is called Pacific Ocean, and it is spread over an area of 165 million square kilometers. You will be surprised to know that the total land area of our world is spread over 148 million square kilometers, which means that if we talk about Pacific Ocean only by removing the other 4 oceans, then it alone is much bigger than all the mountains, deserts, forests, and Ireland of our entire world. There are only a few islands in this entire ocean, and those 2 are so small that they look like just a dot in comparison to this vast ocean, and these are the islands on most of which no human has set foot till date. That is, if someone gets lost in the Pacific Ocean, then the chances of finding a person are almost nil. Today you will know the real story of a person who got lost in the Pacific Ocean on a small boat, and that too not for just 10 or 15 days, but for 438 days. Yes, this person accidentally made a world record, which probably no one would want to break even if they wanted to. This world record of spending the maximum time alone in the ocean was made by a person named Salvador Alvarenga, who spent 438 days in the ocean, and that too on a small boat of just 7 feet. But the question is, how did he stay alive and alone in the ocean for 14 months? But before that, we will know why he went into the ocean. This is the story of 2012 when Josh, who was 36 years old at that time and was an expert fisherman, lived in a small village in Mexico, Costa del Sol. On November 17, 2012, Josh along with a friend left for fishing on their small boat. Their plan was to spend only 30 hours in the sea. That is why they did not have much luggage on their small boat. This 7-foot boat had only one engine and a refrigerator in which they stored the fish. Jose, who was carrying only 1 day's food and water, had no idea that the next 438 days were going to be the worst days of his life. He went 120 kilometers away from the coast of Mexico and cast his net in the sea. At that time, a terrible sea storm arrived there. To save his life, he left the fishing net there and ran back towards the land. He drove the boat at a high speed for 6 hours, and by 7 o'clock in the morning, he was now only 20 kilometers away from the ground. And they were also able to see their village. They had left the storm far away, but now their luck had deserted them. The engine of their boat broke down just 20 kilometers from the land. Now they neither had Japet nor a cell to control the direction of the boat, but they had a radio through which they sent their location to their boss and started waiting for his reply. But what happened after that is every fisherman's worst nightmare. Yes, while waiting for their boss's reply, the battery of their radio also gave up, and now both these fishermen had lost contact with the outside world. Jose Alvarenga and his companion were still in shock when suddenly something happened which they had not anticipated. Strong winds started pushing them back towards the sea, and the land they could see was slowly going away from them. Their boss even formed a search party and searched for them in the Pacific Ocean, but it was too late because as the days passed, it was considered very difficult for Jose Alvarenga and his companion to survive. 5 days had passed since this accident, and the winds had pushed Jose and his boat 450 kilometers away from the land. They had reached a part of the sea where they could see only water in every direction. They knew that their boat was so small that it could not be spotted even from a distance. Neither did they have a flare gun nor could they light a fire, so they could give signal with smoke, which meant that Jose and his companions knew very well that their chances of survival were now less than 1%. The food and water they had brought with them had already finished. So, to fill their stomachs, they started catching the birds that came and sat on their boat with their own hands, or they started catching the fishes present around the boat and eating them raw. Drinking salty sea water can kill a person. That is why they started drinking rainwater, by collecting it in plastic bottles floating in the sea. But when it did not rain for many days, he used to drink the blood of fishes and turtles to quench his thirst, and that too when he was able to catch them. Days passed, and then months passed. The mental torture that these two were going through is difficult for us to even imagine. Ultimately, Jose Alvarenga's partner could not bear this torture, and after 4 months he committed suicide. Now he did not have anyone even to talk to on this small boat, and he started living his life alone in this sea, roaming around in all directions. If we look at the map, according to an estimate, Jose Alvarenga was present in this part of the Pacific Ocean, and it is considered to be the quietest part of the world. So cargo ships rarely pass through here sometimes. It had been more than 6 months since they left Mexican soil, and during this time Jose had lost his companion. Due to this, he had become very frustrated. One day, Josh saw a cargo ship passing in the sea. This was the first such ship he had seen in the last 6 months. As soon as he saw this sight, his hopes of survival started to revive. He made all kinds of gestures towards the cargo ship, but unfortunately the crew of the ship could not see the small boat, and in no time, his hopes of survival were dashed once again. Imagine that after fighting death for one day in the middle of the sea, when finally he gets a chance to save his life, and that too goes away ignoring him, how would he feel? After 11 months, Jose had traveled 8,000 kilometers on this small boat. His clothes were torn, and he had only an undervest left to protect himself from sunlight. Finally, the moment came when luck turned on Jose. On January 30th, 2014, after 14 months, Jose saw coconuts floating in the water around him. He understood that an island was near where coconuts were breaking from the trees and floating in the water. After a while, he could actually see an island. He was afraid that he might miss this island too. That is why he jumped into the water and reached the island on his own. This was the first time in the last 14 months that the country had set foot on land. When he reached the island, he saw a small house in which a local person was present. This was the first time in the last 438 days that Josh had contact with another human being. This island was a remote island of Marshall Islands, which is called Eben et al., and this island is 11,000 kilometers away from Jose's starting point. It was also Jose's luck that he reached close to a small-sized island in the sea. Otherwise, if Josh had missed this island too, the next stop would be the Philippines. Jose was sent back to his home, which is 5,000 kilometers away from this island. As soon as he reached there, another problem surrounded him. Yes, on reaching back, he published a book in the name of 438 Days, but a case was filed against him accusing him of killing his partner. The same partner committed suicide according to Jose. I hope you liked this video by Wisdom Wave. Share this video and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next great video.